So, you just finished recording your first Let's Play. It's almost time to upload and become Internet famous! But first, we need to do some editing. Editing can be slow, tedious, and difficult, but it's the best way to ensure your video both looks and sounds the way it should. Editing! For this example, I'll be using Sony Vegas Pro, just because it's a more visual editor, and I think it will be easier to understand in this video. Keep in mind that for a majority of my videos, this one included, I personally use Adobe Premiere. That being said, let's get started. The first thing you're going to want to do is import all your clips and move them onto the timeline. Once everything is on the timeline and you've organized the layers correctly, if you're using Sony Vegas, you should right-click the video track, hit Properties, and disable Resample. This is something that only needs to be done in Sony Vegas. What Resample does is it sort of interpolates the frames and blends them together. This causes some weird ghosting effects on videos and also increases render time by a lot. So basically it offers no benefit whatsoever and just makes your videos take longer and look worse. Don't forget to disable Resample. Now that Resample is gone and our clips are on the timeline, let's use that sync point we created earlier to properly sync all our tracks together, so what we're talking about not only matches what's going on in the game, but also matches what we're saying in the camera. After you've successfully synced the audio, you can delete the unnecessary audio track from your camera since those probably don't sound as nice as your normal recording microphone. With all that out of the way, we can begin the actual editing process. How you start is up to you, but normally for a video like this, I like to do all of my cropping first, so I can see how the video will look visually before I start cutting things out. So I'm going to add some layouts, and these are just PNG images that I made in Photoshop. Nothing too special about them, and this isn't a Photoshop tutorial, so you'll have to learn that on your own. In Sony Vegas, you'll want to use the track motion option to move your video around, and the mask tool to crop it. Track motion is a lot simpler and also doesn't take as long as the typical pan crop function to render, so it just makes more sense to use it. The mask tool is also pretty simple, just hit the checkbox to turn it on, and either draw your own mask or use one of the preset options to cut out what you don't need. Now that everything is looking good visually, we can begin to cut out parts of the video we don't like. Normally it's best to try and make mental notes while recording of areas you may or may not want to cut, but for this video I pretty much just want to cut out all the dead air, so to speak. So I'm going to make some cuts where I can see some gaps in the audio waveform. Now if this were a traditional LP, I would normally listen to the entire audio track, and if need be, I would dub over some sections if I made a mistake or tripped over my words, just to make the video more polished and professional. For something like this though, it really doesn't matter. Now that we've cut out the boring stuff, our video is just about done. I usually like to add a fade in or a fade out to the start and end of my videos, and with Sony Vegas that's super easy. Just drag from the top corner and boom, you got yourself a nice fade. Normally I would also add my outro, but because this is just an example video, I won't bother. With that though, the video is finished, so now it's time to export. Exporting. Exporting, or rendering, is the process of combining all of your edits into one singular video file that you can then upload to YouTube. Any editing software will let you render in a number of different file formats and qualities. Here's what I normally use in Sony Vegas. Feel free to copy this or experiment on your own. Keep in mind that I chose this rendering codec because it offers a faster render while still maintaining a high quality video. Great, your video is now done. Now it's time for you to upload it to YouTube. Make sure you add a proper title, description, and tags to better optimize your video for YouTube's search engine. Now that your video is uploaded, it's time to wait. Congratulations, you are now internet famous! You can constantly remind your friends and family how awesome you are by telling them that you're internet famous! And make more money than doctors by recording mediocre gameplay and posting it online. Yes, you certainly are living the life. And now that you've completed this tutorial, I suppose it's time to say goodbye. Enjoy your now fabulous life of wealth and riches as a YouTube Let's Player.